Welcome back to Talk of the Town on WHTC, Holland's Cool FM, on WHTC.com, and on the WHTC app for your smartphone. Once again, here's your host, Gary Stevens.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Thursday, August 13th. It is the second Thursday of the month, which at this time is Ask the Prosecutor, as one of the two prosecuting attorneys in our area joins us in the studio to talk about criminal law in general, with the caveat that active cases cannot be discussed, and with the other caveat being that what we will be discussing is for general information purposes only. For your own legal situation, please consult your counselor at law before taking any action. With that, Mike Villar, first-term Allegan County prosecutor, prosecuting attorneys on the other side of our table this morning. Mike, welcome back.
Well, thank you, Gary.
Very pleased to have him with us, and very pleased if you can join the conversation. We encourage it. 616-395-1450. First of all, let's bring up an interesting point involving jurisdiction and the city of Holland. Holland, and I think there might be a couple other municipalities in the same boat. I know St. Clair Shores is one of them on the other side of the state, where the municipality is in two county jurisdictions. In St. Clair Shores, a little finger goes into Wayne County. The rest of it goes into Macomb County. Holland, most of it's in Ottawa County, but at 32nd Street, south of that, that's in Allegan County. And from time to time, the question of who has jurisdiction over matters in the city of Holland when it comes to either policing or emergency services. And there has been a little change that Mike's going to explain to us involving jurisdiction with the city of Holland. I'd like for you to explain it, because if I try to do so, there might be issues.
All right. Well, it is a little bit complicated, because what we have is part of the city of Holland is in Ottawa County and part of the city of Holland is in Allegan County. Now, the way it works is whichever portion of the city has the higher population, which right now Ottawa County has more people in the Holland city than Allegan County does. So what they've decided to do is make a judicial district that encompasses the Holland, the Ottawa County portion of Holland and the Allegan County portion of Holland. So it's very interesting. And if you look at the ballots that people vote on, there are 3 precincts in Holland that are actually in Allegan County. So for those people in the judicial district of Holland, of the city of Holland, they vote for the Allegan County prosecutor, the Allegan County commissioners, the Allegan County, everything except for the district court judge. The people in the Holland precincts vote for the Ottawa County judge. And so what has happened in the last 50 years, at least 50 years, the city of, or the county of Allegan and the county of Ottawa have agreed to let the Ottawa County prosecutors prosecute all misdemeanors and the preliminary exam portion of felonies. They have been the ones who have been functionally responsible for those things. Now, the beginning of every year, I swear in Ottawa County prosecutors because they are working on Allegan County cases. However, there is a change coming, and October 1st, the Allegan County Prosecutor's Office will again be taking over, for the first time since like 1974, taking over the prosecution of the Allegan County portion of Holland cases. So we'll be dealing with the misdemeanors, the formal hearings, the traffic tickets, the felonies. All of that will now be run by the Allegan County Prosecutor's Office.
Now, let me do some logistics questions. If a crime or a ticket is issued south of 32nd Street, that is now in the jurisdiction of your office.
That is correct. Well, it's always been in the jurisdiction of our office, but for 50 years, Allegan and Ottawa have agreed to let Ottawa County prosecutor prosecute those cases, which is why I have to swear in the Ottawa County prosecutor so that they can perform functions from Allegan County.
Okay. There was a case a few years ago. I think it was a murder case in an apartment complex off of, I think, 40th Street in Holland. That would have been initially handled by the Ottawa County Prosecutor's Office before until the switchover.
Well, I guess it's not as easy an answer as
Okay.
Sometimes all the murder cases, excuse me, some of the murder cases or most of the murder cases were handled by Allegan County prosecutors. If it was a serious enough case, the Allegan County prosecutors would come to the Holland District Court to do the preliminary exam, get it bound over to circuit court, which then it goes back to Allegan. So depending on the case, I would say 98% of the cases were handled by the Ottawa County prosecutor. In special cases or very important cases, the Allegan County prosecutor might come in and handle that case until it's bound over to circuit court.
Okay, now a logistic question then involves if a case is going to be handled within the city of Holland south of the 32nd Street county line, will it still be handled in the preliminary stages, arraignment and preliminary hearing in 58th District Court, or will it go down, I believe it's 57th in Allegan?
Yeah, it will stay here. So because because Holland is in two separate counties, because there's a higher percentage of the population that lives in Ottawa County, everything that happens in that judicial district goes to the 58th District Court, not to Allegan. So that won't change at all. If you're in the city of Holland and you get a traffic ticket or you get charged with a crime, it will still be in the Holland District Court.
Thereby, Allegan prosecutors would have to come up here more often?
That is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I suppose that's one thing to do it, but yeah. Or is it not that bad? I'm just thinking you guys going to make a lot of drives up M40 to handle things here.
We are, but with the advent of Zoom, we're hoping that the Zoom hearings can minimize the amount of travel that we have to do. Because if there's Zoom hearings, our prosecutors and assistant prosecutors can just do it from our office in Allegan. Some of the things you can't do, like trials, jury trials, they're all in person. Most courts have preliminary exams in person. So we would necessarily have to have people coming here for those specific areas. But for the most part, we find in Allegan, a lot of our Allegan stuff is done by Zoom, and we can actually sit in our office and do Zoom even though the courthouse is only 100 steps away, or the courtroom is only 100 steps away.
Now, the other thing then is if somebody is incarcerated for a crime that's done in Allegan County, to the Allegan County Jail they go initially, or to the Ottawa County Jail do they go?
That was something that the counties worked out between themselves, and so the sheriffs from both counties sat down and worked out an arrangement so that they know who's taking some people where. And I believe, I haven't seen the full final agreement, but I believe they've worked that out, and most of the stuff that's in Holland is going to be housed in Ottawa County jails. Okay.
And for a while, that was no question because Ottawa County was a nicer jail, bigger jail, newer jail. Allegan's caught up.
Yes, we have some really nice facilities now. We took the Hayward plant and converted that into the sheriff's department, and it's really a nice place.
With all due respect, Mike Villar, I'll take your word for it. I do not want to have to sample it myself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice facility. It's not so nice to visit there, I guess.
Oh, I'm talking about visiting maybe somebody there. It's one thing.
Yeah.
Having to sleep there.
Yeah, you don't want to be. You do not want to be a resident there.
No. With all due respect to Frank Baker and the Allegan County Sheriff, and they do a fine job probably, but I don't want to have to sample it myself. If you know what I mean.
I do.
If you have a question for Allegan County Prosecutor Mike Villar, he'll be happy to take it at 616-395-1450. Now, this is something I don't like springing. I don't like playing gotcha, but I thought of you because when I got this press release from the Michigan courts 6 days ago, I was thinking, as currently a prosecutor but a former private practice attorney, this might be up your line. The public is invited to provide feedback for a long-term judicial system strategy. It's going to be an online through Zoom on Monday, August 24th between 4 and 5 p.m. Including a broad range of judicial system stakeholders, the Michigan Judicial Council makes recommendation to the state Supreme Court on matters pertinent to the administration of justice, including development of a strategic plan for the Michigan judicial branch and suggestions for proposals that would enhance the work of the courts. So their 2026 through 2029 strategic agenda, the second strategic agenda since the Judicial Council's establishment, they have identified 6 priority goals for the Michigan judiciary: trial court funding, technology, the public's experience and effective problem resolution, fairness and accountability, public trust and understanding, and workforce excellence. Again, Mike had not been briefed on this beforehand, but I'm asking him as an attorney, both on a private and now on a public scale, some of these things on this agenda, good, bad, indifferent, or what?
Well, I think all of them are good to look at. I mean, I think it's important for every organization to make sure that you're doing what you should be doing, and to consider if there are better ways of doing it. We made a lot of changes in our prosecutor's office based on what was happening before. So we looked at those efficiency issues. We looked at the fairness issues. So for the judiciary to look at that and try to put a focus on their own behavior and how have they been accomplishing their stated goals, it's always important. So I think it's a good thing to do. In terms of, I think we have in Allegan County, we have a fairly good judiciary. So I think that they are fairly efficient. I think that we've done a pretty good job. Now, the one thing I would say, I think that is probably lacking, in my opinion, is the accountability of judges when something happens in their courtroom that's untoward, or they say something they shouldn't say. Generally, the Judicial Tenure Commission would get involved. And from my perspective, I think that since most of the things that they decide are private and not disclosed, I think that creates in our public a certain level of distrust. Is how, when you are policing yourself, or supposed to be as a judiciary, you're supposed to be policing yourself. When you take actions that are hidden from scrutiny, like if an attorney gets grieved, it goes to the Michigan Lawyers Weekly, and it goes to the state bar. And you have a magazine that comes out, and every month it says, here are the people that have been disciplined, and here's what happened, and here's why they were disciplined. That does not happen with judges, and there may be good reasons for that, but I think that in the public's eyes, that creates a little bit of distrust because we cannot see what is being done. So if a judge gets reprimanded in private, nobody knows what the reprimand was or how effective it was. So that's one issue I think that they should be addressing.
Is that stemming from a little bit of what we have seen over the years in overall society? And judiciary is no different than anything else in society. We now have more ways of there's been a strong emphasis on transparency, but we have social media. We have more ways to disseminate information quicker. And so maybe we're aware of it a little bit more, and all of this backroom stuff becomes a little bit even more heightened. I think you know what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, I do think that the general public could think, hey, this is a big club, and they're going to stay within the club. They're going to decide things in favor of the people that are members of the club to the exclusion of people that are outsiders. And I think whenever you have, whether you've earned that belief or not, if people have that belief, it erodes the confidence in the judiciary. So I think that if a judge does something that is untoward, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be held as accountable as attorneys and have whatever punishment that they have made or disseminated in a way that people could say, okay, we believe the judiciary is policing itself and is holding accountable people that do things that they shouldn't.
Okay. for those who might be interested in this virtual hour-long session on Monday, August 24th, it'll be held via Zoom, and a deadline to register for the meeting is a week from tomorrow, August the 21st. I will put a link to the agenda in when we do the description of this podcast with Mike Villar, the Allegan County Prosecuting Attorney. We put it up on our webpage a little after 10 this morning at on WHTC.com in the podcast tab under Talk of the Town. You can listen or download it at your convenience for free. Click on the link. It should give you information about how you can participate for the Zoom activity of this. There is no deadline to submit written comments about this strategic agenda with the courts. And for those who have been in the legal system, be it a defendant or family members involved, this might be something you might want to might take a look at.
Well, I think it would definitely be fascinating to be a part of, too. I think you can get some of the inner workings when you see what their plans are and what their strategies are overall for the court. It can be informative as you see what are they thinking their priorities should be versus the public's input as to what their priorities should be.
One thing that you've been very pleased about since you're in your second year of handling the duties at the office is the fact that the backlog of cases has dwindled down. You've been able to get all the records and everything lined up, and almost as if you've made everything run like a smooth machine.
Well, I'd like to think we were a smooth machine, but we're making it run like a machine. There are days when it's smoother than others, but I think what we've done to eliminate the backlog is we've gone to Carpel, Prosecutor by Carpel. It's a case management system that really helps, because if you have your computer, you can access any document on any case anywhere. So when you go to court, you don't have to bring a briefcase full of documents. You have those documents on your computer, your laptop. That in and of itself saves so much time. Then we instituted a prosecuting theory, vertical prosecution, where we've assigned certain prosecutors to the judges. So there's a prosecutor for Judge Burnett, a prosecutor for Judge Scotchless, 2 prosecutors for Judge Ankoviak, 2 prosecutors for Judge Jip. Then we have an appellate attorney. Then we have one that deals with mostly preliminary exams. And then we have 2 attorneys dealing with the family court. So what that does, it doesn't sound like much, but in the past, an attorney on any given day could be in 3 separate courtrooms, and they had paper files. So you pick up a file, and inside there's all writing. And in theory, it was in order. But if in a really big case, you'd have notes in the corner, notes in the bottom, notes on the sides, and you'd have to spend quite a bit of time just becoming acquainted with the case. And then you get to the pretrial, for example, and they say, well, how do you want to resolve it? And you're like, I don't know, because I just looked at this file today for the first time. We've eliminated all that. The prosecutors that are in front of the judges know their cases. When a defense attorney has a question about it, they know who to talk to. And so what's the result of that is cases are going more quickly and resolutions are happening, and they're good resolutions. We're not giving away cases to solve the backlog. We're getting good resolutions, maybe better than before. But it's because our attorneys are more familiar with each case that they deal with. And that makes them more efficient, and that makes the system more efficient.
First of all, let me ask real quick. I would assume that the prosecutorial staff, the attorneys you have, it's not a case of, I got 2 or 3 retirements coming, I got to fill some holes, do I? Now, they're relatively younger attorneys, I would think, so you don't have to worry about losing them.
Well, not necessarily true. I brought in, the people that I brought in when I came, and since I've been here, have about 130 years of experience. So we brought in some very seasoned prosecutors. We had a fairly young staff when I got there. We have been bringing in people with pretty extensive backgrounds and history. So it's not as young as you might think. We've hired some people that have 20, 30 years experience, and that is good for the younger attorneys because now they can talk to the older attorneys and get some good advice and good legal advice. So we have a mix, and we have a couple people that may be looking to retire in the next 3 or 4 years. So we do have some areas where we're going to have to fill holes, but yeah, I'm very happy with the mix that we have now because they used to be really young. Now there's a mix of really seasoned people and younger people, and that's a good mix.
Now, there has been discussion in other aspects of law enforcement trying to get enough qualified people, get a good fight for qualified people. You know, I'm thinking along the lines of police and sheriff's departments. What about in the legal field? Are we getting the good quality attorneys in criminal law, especially that you don't have to be fighting with Sarah Matwychek over in Ottawa County or the ones in Kent or Kalamazoo County for some good lawyers because there's not that many.
We fight all the time over the good attorneys. That is one of the things that is happening now. There's a shortage of prosecutors across the state. And because of that, there's a lot of mobility available to prosecutors. So if you have 2 or 3 years of experience and you want to go somewhere else, there are numerous prosecutors' offices that will offer you a job. And unfortunately, it's money is a part of that. So if it's Allegan County versus Kent County, the pay difference may draw people to Kent County. So it's always a fight. It's always a fight. How much do you pay? How much will your commissioners allow you to pay to new hires? And then if you're losing people because they're going to higher paying jobs in different places, then you have to address that. So it's an issue for us to fill spots.
Now, do you feel you've gotten the support in Allegan County?
Yes, absolutely.
Therefore, you can maybe say, no, I can't pay as much as Kent, Kalamazoo, or even Wayne counties. But my office, you have a different working environment. The stress is there, but it's not as bad because we have things organized. Can you use that as a recruiting tool? Well,
we do. We do use the way we've updated our systems and have prosecutor by carpel. But we also emphasize the fact that in Allegan County, there's a quality of life that you can't find in a city. So if you're going to go to a city, if you like cities, then that's where you should be. But if you like a lifestyle that's more conducive to family and more conducive to outside entertainment, we have lakes and we have rivers and we have all kinds of really amazing things in Allegan County. So that's a part of it too. You have to make a lifestyle decision. What do you want to do?
And also maybe a goals decision as well. I'm just thinking that the current governor of the state of Michigan was a prosecuting attorney and then had political ambitions. So to a certain extent, that has got to be taken into account too.
Oh, yeah. I think that is the next step towards becoming a judge or having other positions. Being a prosecutor can never hurt your career choice.
More information about the Allegan County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, go to AlleganCounty.org, AlleganCounty.org. Allegan County Prosecuting Attorney Mike Villar, as always, thank you very much for joining us today. Wish you and your staff well. And as you and Sarah Matwychek alternate in the months, we will be talking to you again in the month of October. Thank you, sir.
All right, that sounds good. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you very much. Allegan County Prosecuting Attorney Mike Villar. NBC News straight ahead, followed by WHTC News. More talk of the town, including Brian Spencer's What's New Around Holland. We're going to continue our discussion about hot dogs and other fun things in our 10:30 segment. You're listening to Talk of the Town on WHTC Holland's Cool FM.